Eve. How about that? Why am I early today? Well, I have to leave in about 45 minutes to go and officiate at a wedding. So, and I won't be back until late. I think I mentioned it yesterday. Not that that's important in the grand overall scheme of things. One thing I have to say is today has been a sad day for my wife and I because our dog has really not been doing well for a few weeks, and took her to the vet yesterday. They tried to give her an injection, some pills, but they said her kidneys had shut down. And anyway, the bottom line is we had to take her back today, and she has now crossed over the Rainbow Bridge, and hopefully she'll be having a good time. With that in mind, let's move on. An abundance of joy. Even in the midst of sorrow, there is joy. First quote is from Hugh Sidey, who was an American journalist, first of all with Life magazine, then Time magazine. He covered 9 presidents from Eisenhower to Clinton, so pretty long spell. Passed away in 2005. He says, above all else, go with a sense of humor. It is needed armor. Joy in one's heart and some laughter on one's lips is a sign that the person down deep has a pretty good grasp of life. And that was Hugh Sidey. And Ernest Holmes in Ideas of Power says, there is a laughter of God, the divine spirit, the all, if you like. Let's laugh at it. There is a song of the universe. Let's sing it. There is a hymn of praise. Let's praise it. There is a joy, a beauty. There is a deep abiding peace. Let's experience it. And that's, I said, that's from Ideas of Power, page 158. Also, I remember the great famous poet Rumi, the Middle Ages Persian poet, said something to the effect that when joy heard your name, it's been running after you, chasing you through the streets, trying to catch up with you. That's a paraphrase of it. And our writer Jim this month says, it's impossible to have too much joy. And yet many of us have come to believe that if we experience too much joy, sorrow must be just around the corner, i.e. the shoe's going to drop, right? Such thoughts are vestiges of outmoded religious and cultural beliefs that do not serve us. Joy is a natural condition of being human, as is sorrow. Look at a newborn and see their exuberance in expressing both conditions. When we cultivate and appreciate joy, we create more space for it in our lives. Sorrow may come and does not need cultivation, just as the weeds in the garden arrive on their own, but the flowers must be cultivated. Joy arrives spontaneously, and like any divine expression, it must be a willing vessel for its expression. Am I a willing vessel for joy? If not, why not? What is in the way of my joy? Taking these questions seriously, we find that we are in our own way. For some reason, we have decided that we do not deserve joy, or that our joy should be limited, because to be joyful isn't spiritual, or being joyful may be dangerous, as is too often the case for children. It is time to open to more joy. It is right there, waiting. When you find it within, you will see it everywhere. Okay, so first of all, I think there's a difference between joy and happiness. I think joy is more of an ongoing experience, whereas happiness, you can be happy in the moment and then it's gone. But if you have joy in your heart, then it kind of carries you through all the things that are going on in life. That's my 10 cents with there. And what he's saying here is correct, that religious and societal norms have actually led us astray. Because growing up, I grew up Catholic, and besides guilt, which was a big deal, right? guilt. Somebody said guilt is the prerogative of Jews and Catholics, and they're not far off the mark. My mother, I've been through a lot. You know, my father died when I was 4 years old. She became a widow. She was a single parent when I was 4. And then her mother died, then her father died, and eventually my father's father passed away. And I was still pretty young. I think I might have been 11 or 12 when all this happened, you know, losing all these people. And I think she misinterpreted the Catholic view. There's a stream in the Catholic tradition that kind of exemplifies pain and suffering and sorrow, that it's good. There's another group there that actually promotes joy. But my mother was on the strain that actually thought if you were experiencing too much happiness or too much joy, then that wasn't good for your soul. And she would often say to me, if I was laughing a lot, David, this will end in sorrow, or this will end in tears. Fortunately, later in life, I found out that's not true. So what do you think about joy? Are you open to joy? Are you prepared to see joy even when you're going through rough times? Like my wife and I know, it's a very sad time, but I can look back at lots of memories that we had with Lily, our dog. She was a Cocker Spaniel. And I remember her exuberance when she loved food. And that's why the last few weeks we knew there's something major wrong. And of course, the vet confirmed it. And she'd been on pills to help her kidneys, but it didn't help too much. Anyway, but what I remember is in the kitchen, she would literally jump up and down if she thought she was going to get a piece of banana, a small piece, or any other little treat. She will be literally jumping up and down in joy. So that's what I want to emulate, so that when something good is happening, I'm totally open to experiencing it, and which is completely different than the way I was brought up. But we live and learn, right? So what are your thoughts about joy? He says in the Affirmations, I am joy, not experience joy, but I am joy. And I'm open to a more joyful experience of life. Are you open to it? Or are you prepared to be open to it? In which case, if you're prepared to be open to it, the affirmation, I am open to a more joyful experience of life, will work for you. But you've got to be open to it for it to work. If not, step back and say, I'm open to being open to a more joyful experience of life. You can always back off. He said, I know sorrows will come. I translated it as, I know sorrows may come, but joy is now my default setting. So I can look beyond what's going on. I don't ignore what's going on and I deal with it, but I can look beyond it. And finally, what a wonderful life. You don't get an affirmation that's much better than that. You know, oftentimes I nitpick these affirmations, right, and I change them. But this one, I mean, what a wonderful life. Yeah? What a wonderful life. Fantastic. Okay. I'll be back tomorrow on Thanksgiving Day, hopefully around about 5 o'clock, because we are celebrating Thanksgiving Day on Saturday, because my daughter-in-law is working tomorrow. So I'll have plenty of time, actually. And just one final parting remembrance. Reverend Lisa will be on tomorrow at, I think, 9:30, even though it's Thanksgiving Day. There is no Thanksgiving service at our spiritual center, aka church, whatever you want to call it, because that happened on Sunday. There was a Zoom and people came in and said what they were grateful for. So have a great, wonderful Thanksgiving Day for the ones of you who celebrate it. And for the ones of you who don't, just hold in your hearts that the ones who do celebrate it are having a wonderful time. And that whatever's going on in their lives, they're able to be joyous on Thanksgiving Day, just as the Pilgrims and the indigenous people were all those centuries ago. So until next time, namaste.